We now go to breaking news. The Supreme Court has now just issued a couple different rulings. I think the biggest case on the docket is birthright citizenship. We're bringing in David Coale. He's going to be talking about this one as well as the other ones as well. Birthright citizenship, a challenge to Trump's executive order ending the fact that if children are born in the U.S., if their parents are non-citizens, are they a citizen?
Yes, huge issue. Involves one of the most important sentences in the 14th Amendment. And this morning, in an opinion by the Chief Justice, the court said this means what it says, that if you're born within the boundaries of the U.S., you are a citizen, subject to some very small exceptions that aren't really material. The executive order is not constitutional.
And this was from an ACLU case.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so it was a big presentation.
Oh, and it's a lot of people. I mean, and it's a lot of people in a lot of different ways. People that came to the country in different ways, of different configurations of parents and families and origin stories. But this opinion says that we've always understood this to do one thing. If you're here, there's a Latin term for it that I don't remember, but that applies, and you are a citizen. And these exceptions that we've heard so much discussion about, they're really, really limited to like ambassadors' kids and stuff like that. And that's the way it's been. That's the way it's going to be.
Okay. The other case was about transgender athletes. The Supreme Court ruling in favor of the states that have bans in place.
Yes, it was something like when the court overruled Roe a few years ago, they sent it to the states and say, you have the ability here to approach this in a certain way. And it unanimously agreed with Title IX, the statute that requires equal funding for women's sports, and it was 6-3 on a constitutional question. But states get to make these decisions now.
Okay, and then campaign finance was big. This one, basically, the Republicans challenging the part of the Federal Election Campaign Act, capping how much parties can actually spend. It's like coordinating your campaign spending, I guess. It's who you can and who you can't, and how much you can spend, right? So some were saying this was already being done. It just maybe wasn't totally done in the right type of way, but this would make it legal.
Getting the law caught up to reality. I mean, we have all these groups that have a right to speak, because these are First Amendment cases, and a right to spend money. Can they talk to each other? And, you know, of course they can.
Yeah,
and so there's certain consequences to that. You have to word the rule the right way, but the Supreme Court said, you know, we just need to go with reality here. And if there are disputes to be had about how funding is done, that's for another case. This is kind of the mechanics of funding once you agree on how it's going to be done.
And it was about them kind of trying to impact the control and flow of the money through the parties.
Can you get some PAC? Can you influence who is picked as the candidate? It has some political consequences to it. But in terms of the First Amendment, I mean, you have a right to talk to other people that are giving money. It's pretty straightforward, I think.
Are you surprised by any of these rulings?
I am not really. I thought the birthright citizenship argument a few months ago, the court had a lot of skepticism about the administration's position. And I think the opinion the court gave this morning is just right by the numbers, consistent with what the understanding had been for a long time. And I'm not surprised to see the transgender athlete ruling either. You know, remember in the Roe case, it went back to the states. This is the same idea. And the Chief Justice, or Justice Kavanaugh, who wrote the opinion, who, by the way, is a big sports coach, right? Coaches his daughters.
Yeah, right.
You know, there are legitimate issues here about safety and so on, and we generally defer to states when that kind of thing is being discussed.